Welcome to our paranormal afterlife. This is episode 152 of Paranormal Stories. This episode I'm reading from Jim Bruton's book, The In-Between, A Trip of a Lifetime. When I have guests on my podcasts, I read their books to work out questions for the episode. And when reading these books, I always find such amazing information that never makes it into the podcast. And here, I get a chance to give you a peek into the book. I've put a link to the book in the show notes, and I did seek permission to record this extract, and the author kindly said yes. So I'm going to read from part 2, which is titled The In-Between. This is what Jim has written. As the doctors put me into a medically induced coma here, I woke up somewhere else. I left my body and was in a purgatorial-looking place I learned was called the In-Between. In my later research, it sounds similar to the Tibetan bardo, the Buddhist term for a liminal state between births. My guess is that you can colour it in however you like. For my purposes, it looked like New York 1,000 years after a nuclear blast or asteroid impact. Here is my account of what I came to understand was a near-death experience. Chapter 2, The In-Between. My vision comes into focus first on my right knee, then my left foot planted firmly on the ground. I look up and see that I am on the terrace of a tall building. It is open and everything is grey, as if made of concrete and in ruins. Building upon building stretch into the distance, each partially destroyed but weaving together to create a post-apocalyptic skyline. There is no sound of any sort either. It's just that quiet. As I look up to the sky, I see clouds so dark and heavy with rain that their readiness to unload is imminent and frightening. Everything, the ruined buildings, the storm-ready sky, even the air itself, seems to be waiting with the same tension as an arrow drawn tight on a mythical bow. Suddenly a wave of nausea runs through my gut, and even though I am kneeling, I double over in pain and grab my stomach. I whisper aloud, "I don't think I can stand this." With these words, I sense something to my left. On the terrace, not far away, is one of the eeriest sculptures I have ever seen. Standing out against the darkest parts of the brooding sky is a large egg-shaped object. It appears to be made of curved bands of metal, crisscrossing in what seemed to be a random pattern, but in the overall form of an egg standing on its end. I could also see small whirling patterns slow down within. Still feeling my stomach gripped in pain, I rise to my feet and do my best to walk over to the monolith. As I look through the open latticework, I can see the source of arcing patterns of movement. There are gears inside. They are freely suspended in space, but each anchored to an invisible and unique pivot point defining their sweeping arcs of movement in every different and imaginable direction. I notice that these are sector gears, the kind you see in clock-like mechanisms. In contrast to a round gear, these are only a small part of the entire toothed circle, with a beginning, middle and end. As I watch the otherworldly dance of the gears, I can see that some are real and definite, while others are ghost-like. They pass through each other without interference, and I can hear the whisper of a light clacking sound as they ratchet around inside the egg. I take a few steps back to take it all in. What is this thing, I ask? A disembodied voice responds within my consciousness. It says, "This is the future birthing into the now." The otherworldly dance of gears is complex, like a 4D model of time. They come to rest, and I reach through a gap in the side of the egg. This is the process of becoming. As I look at the gears, within my mind I see something like a video feed of future events. One brushes my outstretched hand, and I suddenly double over in pain. With a reflex, I rip the gear out, pulling it through the egg's lattice wall and throwing it over my shoulder. The machine responds by spinning its gears around again, recalibrating for the loss of one, whispering its clacking sound into the new configuration. Jim now has a conversation with the voice. "What's happening now?" he asks. Each gear is the probability of a thought, word, or action in your future. Your destiny is resetting itself around what you have removed. How did I know I could do that? Pull that gear out, removing that future moment? Why else are you here? I have no idea. I don't even know what this place is. You are in the in-between. In between what? Everything. The impossible now between the past and the future. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's impossible in its short duration, yet you are here, standing inside the eternity of a single moment. Do you remember who you are in the world to which your body belongs? I look blankly into space, squinting with the effort to remember. No. Then you see the truth in how the past is dust. Okay, why do some of these gears, these futures that I touch, make me sick and not others? All choices have unintended consequences, some unfortunate and some not. The pain each brings is your guide. Where are the gears that feel good? You're not here to feel good. A new gear swings into view. On this one I see a Ferris wheel and happy grandchildren whizzing by, fingers grasping their car. Laughter. They smile at me or through me, looking off into their own world. Obviously, I let that gear pass by. More gears emerge within view, some passing through others, several clear and definite, many less so and hard to focus on, though all bringing with them the same clear images of meaning. Each time they come to rest, I pull out a gear that I feel by my pain to be to my future detriment. At one point, I look at the growing pile of gears. It's all starting to look like if I don't have a bad future, then I have no future at all. Even though I now feel less pain, am I going to die sooner from all this? Your destiny has to fit itself around futures that aren't meant to be. Your number of breaths are already counted. I will worry about your last one. I don't know how comforting that is. Eliminating bad choices doesn't mean you won't make wrong ones. You won't know they are wrong until after they pass. Since right and wrong are variables over which you have no control, the answers to what comes tomorrow are a waste. Better is understanding the beauty of how everything fits and refits together. So what am I missing here in my lack of understanding? What is clearly before you? Grace. No one deserves salvation. It can only be given by grace. It is your birthright, but it must be chosen at the expense of the world that separates us. This fixing my future is painful. I feel ashamed that I'm not doing it with some more moral compass. I'm only guided by pain. I don't even know where or when these futures happen. Where or when is not important. Removing your enthusiasm to further chain yourself to the world isn't as painful as carrying the crushing weight of those chains once forged around you. It's as if this place was made so that I can do one thing and one thing only, with no chance to screw it up. If those with choices make poor use of them, then offering them fewer possibilities could be called mercy. Jim says, I watch a gear disengage into dust as it passes out of view, from the present into the past. The disembodied voice continues. You can't change the past, but you can make better choices in the future. Everything is interconnected. And pay more attention to your relationships. Be gentle with everyone, as I am gentle with you. Gentle? What's gentle about all this? You prayed for something for which being here is the answer, and now the man who fell from the sky is not the same one who flew into it. Today I was reading from Jim Bruton's book, The In-Between, A Trip of a Lifetime. If you want to buy the book, there is info and a link in the show notes. A great way to support this podcast is to sign up to Patreon. On the Our Paranormal Afterlife Patreon campaign, when you sign up for $6 a month, you get an extended episode every week. For $3 a month, you get an extended episode every month. And if you want to give the extended episodes a try, there is a 7-day free trial. Just go to patreon.com/Our Paranormal Afterlife, or click on the button on my homepage, pastliveshypnosis.co.uk. And if you enjoy the podcast, please leave a review and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or via your favourite podcast app to make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes. And thanks for listening.